My name is Violet, I'm 27, and I've spent the last few years building the kind of life I once only dreamed about. At 22, while still in college, I started a small app development company from my dorm room. 3 years later, it's worth millions. Success came fast, but not without sacrifice. When my grandfather passed away last year, he left both me and my sister Emma shares of his trust fund. Because I'd been handling his investments since my early 20s, my portion ended up larger. Emma never forgave me for that. She'd always muttered about favoritism, calling me Grandpa's pet whenever I accomplished something new. While I was putting in 18-hour days to build my company, she drifted from one job to the next, always grumbling that the world wasn't fair. I truly believed we were making progress when she invited me to dinner 2 months ago. I took it as a sign of peace. I couldn't have been more wrong. That night turned into the most dangerous experience of my life. I fell down her staircase, fractured my skull, and spent 3 weeks in the ICU on life support. But here's the part no one knew at the time. I wasn't completely unconscious. I could hear everything, every whispered conversation, every plan she made to take what wasn't hers. Betrayal by someone close to you feels like a knife twisting slowly. Some of you reading this will understand exactly what I mean. If you've ever discovered that a person you loved was quietly plotting against you, share your story below. This community knows how deep that wound goes. The night everything unraveled actually began with what I thought was wonderful news. My company had just sealed a licensing deal with a Fortune 500 giant, an $8 million revenue boost overnight. Overjoyed, I called Emma, hoping maybe success could finally bring us closer. "That's incredible, Violet," she said, but her tone had a brittle edge. "Then, unexpectedly, we should celebrate. Come over for dinner tomorrow, just the two of us." Looking back, I should have seen the warning signs. Emma had never once suggested celebrating my wins. But after years of tension, I was desperate for a truce. I said yes. The moment I walked into her house, the atmosphere felt off. Forced. She kept topping off my wine glass, her questions about my company and the trust fund cutting sharper than the wine itself. "Must be nice being Grandpa's favorite," she said at one point, carving her steak like it had done her wrong. "Some of us had to earn everything ourselves." "Emma," I replied carefully, "Grandpa loved us both. I just helped him manage things, that's all." "And that's why you get the bigger share of everything," she said, smiling in a way that wasn't really a smile. Then, almost idly, "Sometimes I wonder what would happen if you weren't around to enjoy all that money." A chill prickled up my spine. I tried to laugh it off. "Don't be ridiculous. We're family." After dinner, she said she wanted to show me something upstairs. The wine had me slightly unsteady, but I followed. At the top of the staircase, she stopped suddenly, her voice low and trembling with rage. "You know what, Violet? I'm tired of living in your shadow." Before I could even respond, I felt a shove. The world flipped. My skull cracked against the banister, and everything went black. The last thing I registered was Emma's voice, steady, practiced, on the phone, 911. My sister just fell down my stairs. She's not responding. Weeks later, I opened my eyes in the hospital. I couldn't speak or move, but my mind was awake and my hearing was razor sharp. That's when I heard Emma in the hallway with our mother. "The doctors say there's no hope," Emma murmured. "Violet would want us to use the money. She's basically gone anyway." Ice flooded my veins. My accident had been no accident at all. Emma had tried to kill me for my inheritance, and now she was maneuvering to drain my trust fund while I lay trapped inside my own body. The first real betrayal came just 3 days into my supposed coma. Emma was sobbing crocodile tears outside my room, telling our parents how astronomical the medical bills already were. "We need to access Violet's trust fund to cover her care," she said softly. "She'd want us to use it." And right there, unable to move or scream, I understood the full truth. My sister, the person I'd loved and defended for years, wasn't just jealous. She was dangerous. Legal? She's not dead. She may as well be. Emma snapped, then caught herself, softening her tone. "I mean, the doctor said her brain activity is almost non-existent. We have power of attorney. This is what she would want." I wanted to scream that I was very much alive, but my body betrayed me. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. All I could do was lie there, trapped in my own skin, as Emma convinced my grieving parents to sign papers allowing her access to my inheritance, supposedly for my medical care. That was betrayal number one. The second cut far deeper. A week later, through the haze of sedation, I heard her whispering to someone in my hospital room late at night. Listen, she hissed. I need you to adjust her charts. Make the brain scans look worse than they are. A woman's voice responded nervously. Emma, I don't know. This could cost me my job. It'll cost you more than your job if you don't help me. Emma shot back coldly. Remember, I know about those medication errors you've been hiding. 5,000 in cash, and Violet's chart shows severe, irreversible brain damage. No one will question pulling the plug. My heart pounded, but the monitor stayed steady. Thank you, sedatives. Emma was bribing a nurse to falsify my medical records, making me appear brain dead when I wasn't. The third betrayal was the one that shattered me completely. 2 weeks in, Emma brought someone else to my bedside. I recognized the voice instantly. Jake, my business partner and best friend. The funeral home says they can handle everything, Emma murmured. I've already started planning the memorial. We're thinking next month at the country club. Emma, she's still alive, Jake said, uneasy. This feels wrong. Jake, look at her, she replied smoothly. She's gone. The kindest thing now is to let her go with dignity. I've been cleaning out her apartment, organizing her affairs. Someone has to manage the business transition. My business. My life's work. While I lay paralyzed, Emma was not only planning my funeral, but orchestrating a takeover of my company. I heard the rustle of papers as she showed Jake forged documents, supposedly signed by me, naming her as my designated successor. These signatures look different, Jake muttered. She was sick before the accident, Emma lied. Her handwriting changed. Don't make this harder than it already is. In the days that followed, I began regaining tiny movements, a twitch of a finger, a slight shift of my eyes. But I kept my progress hidden. Emma's reach extended even into the medical staff. Any sign of recovery could ruin everything I was planning. Because while Emma believed she was the only one with a plan, she had no idea about my secret weapon. My smartwatch. She thought it was just monitoring my vitals, but I designed it myself as part of my company's health tech platform. It had features no one but me knew about: voice-activated recording, encrypted cloud backups. Even while paralyzed, I could use micro-eye movements to trigger recordings whenever someone approached. I had everything. Emma's bribes to the nurse, her forged paperwork, her discussions about my funeral. All of it. And that wasn't even the best part. My home security system was another silent witness. Emma had been using my keys to ransack my apartment, unaware that every entry, every box she packed, every client she invited into my home office for her business takeover was captured in high-definition video. I wasn't just surviving, I was building a case. Fraud, forgery, attempted murder, theft of inheritance. My recovery was progressing faster than anyone realized, but I kept it secret from everyone, especially Emma. I had only one chance to expose her, and I knew exactly when and where to do it. Our grandmother's funeral was scheduled for next week. Emma planned to play the devastated granddaughter who had lost both her grandmother and her sister. Perfect timing for my resurrection. Jake had already begun to suspect something. He'd known me since college, and Emma's story wasn't adding up. 3 weeks after the accident, he came to see me alone, his eyes scanning my face while Emma was out of the room. I know you can hear me, Vi, he whispered, using the nickname only he called me. If you're in there, find a way to let me know. I managed the tiniest flutter of my eyes, so faint anyone else would have missed it, but not Jake. His breath caught as he leaned in closer. I've been looking into your accident, he said softly. The signatures Emma showed me don't match your handwriting from our contracts. And the inheritance paperwork? It was filed way too fast. He paused, waiting. I blinked again, deliberate this time. A spark of hope ignited between us. He knew, and for the first time since the accident, I felt a surge of power. I kept glancing at the door, waiting for Jake to return. He leaned close to me that afternoon in the hospital and whispered, if she's doing what I think she's doing, I'll help you stop her. From that moment on, Jake became my hidden ally. He began collecting proof quietly. He snapped photos of the fake papers Emma had drafted, logged her movements, and even captured her gloating on his phone when she bragged about getting into my trust fund. The more time passed, the bolder Emma became. She paraded around in my jewelry, drove my car as if it were hers, and told everyone she was handling Violet's affairs during this tragic period. One night, I overheard her call with friends, finally got what I deserve. Violet always thought she was so much better than everyone else. Her words burned into me. But the day she crossed the line was the day she pressed my doctor. With crocodile tears rolling down her cheek, she said, "It's time to make the hard decision. Violet wouldn't want to live like this. We need to let her go." She didn't know Jake had already uncovered something explosive. Security footage from a neighbor's camera showed Emma's house on the night of my accident. The timestamp proved she stayed on the phone for 20 minutes after calling 911. Plenty of time to arrange everything before pretending she'd just discovered me hurt. The night before my grandmother's funeral, Jake leaned in during his visit and whispered, "Emma's going to use the service to announce your memorial. Are you ready to come back from the dead?" The church overflowed the next morning. More than 300 people crowded inside. Distant relatives, business partners, friends, and family. The air buzzed with whispers of grief. Emma sat proudly in the front pew, dressed in designer black I'd never seen before. Tissues pressed dramatically to her eyes as mourners offered sympathy for her double loss. The pastor was mid-eulogy when the squeak of wheelchair wheels on marble cut through the silence. Heads swiveled. Gasps rolled like waves as faces registered who I was. Emma turned, her complexion draining to chalk. "Violet? But you how?" My fingers dug into the chair arms as I forced myself to rise, legs shaking but voice strong. "Hello, Emma. Surprised to see me at my own grandmother's funeral?" The pastor stopped cold. Family members whispered feverishly. Emma stumbled forward, her fake tears gone, panic clawing through her face. "You're awake. Thank God. You don't understand. The doctors told us you were brain dead." Funny thing about that, I cut in, sliding my phone from my pocket. I heard everything. Every lie, every bribe, every plan. I pressed play. Her voice echoed through the church speakers. "The doctors agree she's brain dead. We can finally access the trust fund." Emma lunged for my phone, shrieking. She's confused. She's still brain damaged. She doesn't know what she's saying. But Jake stood, lifting a fat folder in plain view. "Then explain this. Forged signatures, bribes to medical staff, security footage of you on the phone while Violet lay unconscious at the bottom of the stairs." Our mother rose, her face pale with horror. "Emma, what did you do?" Emma snapped, losing the last mask. "I saved our family. Violet got everything. The business, the trust, Grandpa's love. She didn't deserve it." I played another recording, this time of her bribing the nurse to alter my medical files. Then another of her arranging my memorial while I was still alive. Each clip turned more relatives against her. People shifted, whispering, disgust plain in their eyes. I looked straight at her. "You pushed me down those stairs. You tried to kill me for money. Prove it." Emma screamed. But Jake was already showing the neighbor's security footage to our uncle, the retired police detective. The funeral director, sickened, had already called the authorities. Sirens wailed outside. Emma bolted for the exit, but our cousins blocked her path. Officers stormed in. "Emma Lawson, you're under arrest for attempted murder, fraud, and conspiracy," one said, cuffing her as she collapsed in sobs. What followed happened fast. Prosecutors stacked charges against Emma: attempted murder, fraud, tampering with medical records, and conspiracy. The evidence was so airtight she pled guilty, cutting a deal to avoid a public trial, but still received 15 years in prison. The nurse who accepted Emma's bribes lost her license and faced her own criminal case. Within weeks, I reclaimed my inheritance, my company, and my apartment. Jake, who had risked everything to protect me, became my official co-CEO. Family who had believed Emma's sob story came back with tearful apologies. My parents wept with relief every time they saw me, guilt written on their faces for how easily they had been swayed by Emma's lies. I poured my pain into building something new, the Violet Foundation, an organization helping families who face medical fraud and inheritance exploitation. Too many victims remain silent, and I refuse to let Emma's betrayal define me. Recovery wasn't easy. Physical therapy tested every ounce of my will, but each painful step reminded me that Emma had failed to erase me. I survived, and survival is its own revenge. Looking back, I know now. Sometimes the deadliest enemies are the ones who share your blood. But when you fight back, when you refuse to stay buried, truth rises louder than lies. So if you've ever been betrayed by family, or had someone try to take what's rightfully yours, share your story. This space is for survivors, not manipulators. Because sometimes the sweetest justice is coming back from the grave to tell your truth.